Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Playoff Jimmy has merged with Warriors dynasty to haunt the Rockets. Jimmy Butler has breathed new life into the Golden State Warriors, and now the Houston Rockets are next in line to feel the fire. Just a few weeks ago, the Warriors looked like a fading dynasty, left for dead under the weight of a new Western Conference era. Mocked, dismissed, buried by national doubt and postseason pressure. Then something changed. A hand reached up from the grave, and it belonged to Jimmy Butler. That's right. Playoff Jimmy. Straight out of South Beach, still snarling through a pelvic injury, armed with mid-range daggers and unshakable vengeance. And now? He's ours. The newest monster of the Bay has arrived, and he's dragging this Warriors team, clawing, limping, levitating, straight into contention again. Game 4, Warriors 109, Rockets 106. This isn't a comeback story. This is a resurrection. Butler, who by all logic shouldn't even be walking after getting battered in Game 2, dropped 27 points. 23 of them in the second half, 14 in the fourth quarter alone, also known as the time when legends are made and Dillon Brooks turns to dust. He was flawless. 12-4-12 from the field. Every shot a nail in Houston's playoff coffin. Every possession a sermon in heart, grit, and championship DNA. Meanwhile, back in Miami, Butler's former team was being disassembled by the top-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers like a discount shelf in a dollar store. The Heat lost their last 2 playoff games by a combined 92 points. Yes, 92. Jimmy didn't just leave Miami. He escaped. Golden State isn't just a team. It's a sanctuary, a revival project for basketball's most misunderstood geniuses. First it was Kevin Durant. Then Andrew Wiggins. Now, it's Jimmy's turn. He didn't just join the Warriors, he transformed them. Remember that chase-down foul in Game 4? Butler, dragging his aching pelvis like an anchor, hunted down Dillon Brooks and delivered a hit so hard it might have rebooted his entire mindset. Sure, Brooks sank both free throws. But the message? Sent. The mission? Complete. Psychological warfare? Jimmy's a 5-star general. Let's not forget, Brooks has been chirping all season like a busted smoke alarm. But when the lights got hot and Jimmy served him up rare with a side of humiliation, Brooks vanished into the fog of forgotten memes. As Steve Kerr said, if this were the regular season, he'd probably be out a week or 2. But it's the playoffs. And he's Jimmy Butler. That's what he does. Translation? This man runs on vengeance and coffee. In Game 3, Steph Curry dropped 36 points. But in Game 4, he handed the keys over, like one Batman passing the mantle to another from a parallel universe. That's not just chemistry. That's dynasty energy. Now the series shifts back to Houston, and the Rockets, the No. 2 seed, are about to get a front-row seat to a masterclass in playoff suffering. Butler has walked through both sides of the fire, fame and failure, and he's chosen to lean into the flames. The prophecy is clear. The Warriors aren't rebuilding. They've been reborn. And playoff Jimmy is leading the charge. The NBA world wasn't ready for this version of Golden State. They were supposed to be done, a footnote in Western Conference history, while younger, flashier contenders like Houston took center stage. But playoff Jimmy doesn't follow scripts. He shreds them. And the ripples of this shocking twist are spreading fast. Across sports media, talking heads who had buried the Warriors before the All-Star break are now scrambling to rewrite their takes. Is Golden State a legit finals threat again? Can Butler and Curry coexist long-term? Have the Rockets been exposed? The questions are loud, and the fear in Houston is louder. NBA Twitter, as expected, has gone nuclear. Memes of Jimmy in a Warriors jersey, dunking on Rockets fans and dragging tombstones labeled Rockets Dynasty Flood every timeline. One viral post simply reads, Jimmy Butler didn't join the Warriors. He possessed them. In the locker room, there's a different vibe. One that feels eerily familiar to those who watched this team dominate the league for nearly a decade. Steph Curry, now in the veteran mentor role, was seen post-game with a calm smirk. "This is fun," he told reporters. "We've been through every kind of war. This one just feels different, in a good way. Draymond Green, never one to hold back, added, "Jimmy's a killer. You don't get many like him. He doesn't care about stats, politics, or expectations. He just wants to win, and hurt your feelings doing it." Meanwhile, the Rockets are reeling. Jalen Green has looked overwhelmed. Alperen Sengun, brilliant in the regular season, has struggled to adjust to the brutal intensity of postseason basketball. And Dillon Brooks, the self-appointed villain of the NBA, is learning a harsh truth: you can't outtalk someone who thrives on silence and violence. Houston coach Ime Udoka tried to rally his team post-game, calling the loss a wake-up call, and urging his young core to respond like grown men. But even he couldn't deny the shift. Jimmy changes the temperature of a series. He forces you to play his game. And if you're not ready for that, he'll burn you. Now all eyes turn to Game 5. The pressure is squarely on the Rockets, who risk falling apart completely if they don't reclaim momentum. But it's not just a must-win game. It's a reckoning. Because when Jimmy Butler smells blood, he doesn't back off. He presses harder. He feeds on the tension, the noise, the silence between whistles. He is not just playing for wins, he's playing for legacy. For a shot at rewriting his story in Warriors gold. Golden State, once doubted, now feels inevitable again. And somehow Jimmy Butler, the outcast, the underdog, the misunderstood alpha, is right at the center of it. Not a passenger. Not a sidekick. The architect. The storm. The soul of a new era. So here we are. The dynasty isn't dead. It's been reborn, with Jimmy Butler lighting the torch. And Houston? They're not just facing a Game 5. They're facing Judgment Day. Stephen Curry reflects on the extremely difficult task ahead, but draws strength from 2013 playoff lessons. The Golden State Warriors are now just one win away from punching their ticket to the Western Conference semifinals, holding a 3-1 series lead over the Houston Rockets after a gritty 109-106 Game 4 victory. As the series heads back to Houston for a pivotal Game 5, Stephen Curry, the heart and soul of the Warriors dynasty, is leaning into something far more powerful than just a shooting stroke: experience. Curry knows better than anyone that closing out a playoff series isn't just about talent, it's about composure, resilience, and understanding the moment. And for him, those lessons started early. "I still remember one of my first closeout experiences back in 2013 against Denver," Curry said, reflecting. "We were up by 10 with just a few minutes left, but we turned the ball over so many times. It felt like the longest 2 or 3 minutes of my life. It was a chaotic ending, one that nearly cost them the series, but one Curry hasn't forgotten. Going through that, and so many more moments like it over the last decade, taught me how much discipline and focus it takes. You never really forget those lessons." That 2013 series mirrors today's in more ways than one. Back then, Golden State also held a 3-1 lead but failed to close it out in Game 5, eventually needing a Game 6 on the road to finish the job. This time around, Curry is determined not to let history repeat itself, though he's under no illusion that Game 5 in Houston will be easy. "We know the value of ending a series early. The more rest you get, the better," he said. "But closeout games are always the hardest. The other team's desperate, they've got their home crowd, and they're going to throw everything they have at you." He added, "You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be locked in." And that's where Curry thrives. In the chaos. In the tension. In the moments that separate the good from the great. With Jimmy Butler now bringing firepower on the wing and Draymond Green anchoring the defense, the Warriors suddenly look less like an aging dynasty and more like a championship threat that never left. As Curry put it, the mindset going into Game 5 is simple but powerful: it's a long game. Stay resilient. Stay relentless. And above all, stay disciplined. That's the challenge. Finishing the Rockets off now wouldn't just be a strategic win. It would be a statement, a loud, clear signal to the rest of the league that the Warriors aren't done. They're regrouped. They're recharged. And they're chasing rings. Efficiently closing out this series means more than just advancing. It means extra days to rest battered bodies, to sharpen game plans, and to prepare for the brutal path ahead in the Western Conference gauntlet. For Curry, this moment isn't just about basketball. It's about legacy, leadership, and proving that even after more than a decade of postseason battles, he still has the clarity, and the fire, to lead when it matters most. And make no mistake, The league is watching. Across the NBA, teams that once viewed the Warriors as yesterday's news are now taking a second look. The rise of Jimmy Butler in a Golden State jersey, coupled with Curry's steady command and a reinvigorated supporting cast, has flipped the postseason narrative on its head. What was supposed to be a transitional year for Golden State has suddenly become a revival tour, and Curry is conducting the orchestra with quiet fury. Analysts are starting to shift their tone. What once sounded like farewell tours now echo with playoff warnings. ESPN's Jalen Rose called the Warriors the most dangerous lower seed in the bracket. TNT's Candace Parker added, "If this is what a declining Steph Curry looks like, then the West is in serious trouble." And it's not just the talking heads. Players around the league are noticing, too. Multiple stars, including LeBron James and Damian Lillard, have taken to social media to praise Curry's poise and Jimmy Butler's resurgence, noting how rare it is to see a team rebuild its identity without ever bottoming out. Meanwhile, in the Warriors' locker room, there's no celebration. No premature satisfaction. Just focus, the kind of laser-sharp focus that comes from years of learning what it takes to survive and thrive in the postseason trenches. Draymond Green, never short on confidence, was quick to shut down any notion that Golden State is overachieving. "We've been here before. We know what it takes. It's not about surprising anyone else, it's about reminding ourselves who we are." And that reminder is starting to echo louder with each game. Klay Thompson, while not the scorer he once was, has become a defensive anchor and late-game specialist. Jonathan Kuminga is finally showing flashes of maturity and control. Even role players like Kevin Looney and Gary Payton II are stepping up, proving that this roster still has the kind of gritty depth that makes champions. Now, with the Rockets backed into a corner, the Warriors have a golden opportunity to reassert themselves as more than just a nostalgic threat. If they close out Houston in Game 5, they don't just eliminate a dangerous young team. They send a message to the rest of the West. The dynasty isn't finished. It's evolving. For Stephen Curry, this moment carries echoes of all the battles he's fought before. The ankle surgeries, the blown leads, the championship highs, the finals heartbreaks, all of it has led to this stage. A chance to rewrite the final chapters of his career not as an aging star chasing relevance, but as a timeless leader steering a reborn contender toward one more historic run. As he heads into Game 5, Curry knows what's on the line. And he knows how quickly things can turn if focus slips. He's lived it. But with Jimmy Butler beside him, playing with fire and pain like a man on a mission, and a team rallying around its core, the Warriors don't look like they're hanging on. They look like they're hunting. Jimmy Butler three's clutch free throws push Warriors past Rockets, take 3-1 series lead. In a back-and-forth Game 4 that featured 9 lead changes, it was Jimmy Butler 3 who delivered when it mattered most. With 58.7 seconds remaining, Butler calmly sank 3 pressure-packed free throws to give the Golden State Warriors a final lead they wouldn't relinquish, securing a gritty 109-106 win over the Houston Rockets on Monday night at Chase Center. Houston made it interesting in the final minute. Alperen Sengun hit a key shot to cut the Warriors' lead to just 1 with 40.8 seconds to go. Golden State had 2 chances to put the game away on the next possession, but came up empty. Then, with just 6.4 seconds left, Draymond Green, finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, delivered a game-saving stop, locking down Sengun and forcing a miss. "He's the best defender I've ever seen," head coach Steve Kerr said post-game. "Big moments don't faze him. He's the defensive version of Steph Curry. He just shows up when you need him most." Jimmy Butler 3, perfect from the line, 12-for-12, secured the rebound after the miss and was fouled immediately. With ice in his veins, he knocked down 2 more free throws to stretch the lead to 3. Fred VanVleet had a final shot to tie it at the buzzer, but his deep 3-point attempt came up short. Butler finished with 27 points, 14 of them in the fourth quarter, plus 6 assists and 5 rebounds. He scored the Warriors' final 7 points and 9 of their last 12, fully earning his playoff Jimmy nickname. Remarkably, this was Butler's first game back after missing Game 3 with a pelvic and deep glute injury. Yet, he didn't miss a beat. "What makes Jimmy who he is his ability to rise in the biggest moments," Kerr said. "That foul he drew on Dillon Brooks in the corner? Cold-blooded. 3 free throws. Then gets the stop, comes back, and hits 2 more. That's playoff Jimmy." Draymond's statement start. Draymond Green came out firing, hitting 2 3-pointers on the Warriors' first 2 possessions. He followed it with a strong defensive play against Sengun and found rookie Brandon Podziemski in the corner for another three, helping the Dubs jump out to an early 9-2 lead. Green ended the night with 6 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and the biggest defensive play of the night. His +17 plus-minus was the highest on the team. He also passed Isaiah Thomas to become the 15th all-time leader in playoff assists. On the game-sealing stop, Green said, "He likes to isolate at the top of the key. I just backed off, found my angle. Stack always tells us, it's time to lock in. I knew if I could pick my spot, I could force a tough shot, and that's exactly what happened." Podziemski steps up. Brandon Podziemski had the best playoff performance of his young career, dropping 26 points and hitting 6 three-pointers, a team high. He also grabbed 5 boards, dished 5 assists, and added 2 steals and a block over 40 minutes of action. "Brandon plays like a 10-year vet," Kerr said. "He's a second-year player, but he's got the poise and confidence of someone who's been here a long time. He was key to everything we did tonight." After the game, Podziemski reflected on his mindset. "You've got to tell yourself you belong. Great players embrace these moments. They don't run from them. Every rep, every practice, it builds to this. So when you're here, you just say, 'I've done this before.' It's just another shot, another play." Quinton Post shines off the bench. Rookie Quinton Post delivered a playoff career-high 13 points in 20 minutes, hitting 2 timely threes and stretching the floor for Golden State when it mattered. Third quarter surge. The Warriors came out of halftime down 7, but flipped the script with a 13-0 run to open the third quarter. They hit 7 of their first 8 shots and outscored Houston 18-1 to seize momentum. The Rockets didn't hit a field goal until the 7:08 mark of the quarter. Buddy delivers. Buddy Hield chipped in 15 points, including a huge 3 with 3:32 left that gave the Dubs a 1-point lead at a critical moment. Next up, close it out. The series heads back to Houston for Game 5 on Wednesday night, where the Warriors have a chance to close things out and punch their ticket to the Western Conference semifinals, for 30 p.m. Pacific Time on NBC/SBA, TNT/TrueTV/Max. "To still be in the fight at this point in the season, that's all you can ask for," Draymond Green said. "This is what you train all summer for. The pain, the early mornings, it's for moments like this. I like our chances," he added. "We've done it before. And we believe we can do it again." Momentum shift and growing confidence. Game 4 didn't just mark a win, it marked a turning point. The Warriors now hold a commanding 3-1 lead in the series, a position from which NBA teams historically advance over 95% of the time. After a regular season filled with injuries, lineup adjustments, and doubt, Golden State is starting to look like a battle-tested contender again, and perhaps even a team peaking at the right moment. With Jimmy Butler 3 back in the lineup and already in playoff form, the Warriors have rediscovered their identity, gritty, poised, and unshakably confident under pressure. "It feels like we've weathered the storm," Stephen Curry said after the game. "There were nights in January and February where people wrote us off. But we stayed together. Now you can feel the chemistry clicking, on both ends. A team effort, not just star power." Though Butler led the scoring and made the clutch plays, the victory was a full team effort. Curry, despite a quieter scoring night, 17 points, ran the offense with his usual vision and gravity, constantly drawing double teams that created open looks for others. Brandon Podziemski and Quinton Post brought energy and spacing, while Buddy Hield's timely shot in the fourth showed his veteran value. Kevin Looney, often overlooked, contributed 8 rebounds and played a key role anchoring the interior defense, especially in the Warriors' dominant third quarter. Jonathan Kuminga added valuable minutes off the bench, contributing with his physicality and defensive versatility. Houston's missed opportunity. On the other side, the Rockets walked off the court visibly frustrated. After holding a lead at halftime and matching the Warriors for most of the game, they faltered in the biggest moments, something head coach Ime Udoka acknowledged. "We had our chances," Udoka said. "You can't give a team like Golden State extra possessions or open looks late in the game. And when you do, they'll make you pay." Alperen Sengun, who had 22 points and 10 rebounds, took responsibility for the final possession. "That one's on me," he said post-game. "I rushed it. I should have been more patient. But we're not done, we'll fight in Game 5. Fred VanVleet, who had 19 points and 8 assists, echoed the urgency. We've been counted out all year. We know we've got to win 3 straight. It starts with 1. Media and fan reactions. The basketball world responded quickly to the Warriors' performance. On social media, Playoff Jimmy was trending within minutes of the game's conclusion, with fans and analysts praising Butler's ice-cold clutch performance. ESPN's Kendrick Perkins tweeted, "That boy Jimmy Butler different. 12-4-12 at the line. That's playoff DNA." Stephen A. Smith said on First Take, "This is why you can never count out the Warriors. Butler is a killer. Podziemski looks like a young Klay. And Draymond is still that dude when it counts. They're built for this." Draymond's defensive stand was featured in highlight reels and quickly drew comparisons to his iconic stops in previous playoff runs. Meanwhile, Podziemski's breakout game prompted conversations around his potential as a long-term core piece. Looking ahead to Game 5. Game 5 in Houston will be electric. The Rockets, facing elimination, are expected to come out swinging. But with momentum clearly on Golden State's side and their stars locked in, the Warriors have a golden opportunity to close out the series and earn some extra rest before round 2. Coach Kerr isn't taking anything for granted. We've been around long enough to know how hard it is to win in the playoffs, especially on the road. Houston's going to bring everything they've got. But if we stay focused, defend, and trust our spacing and pace, we'll put ourselves in a good position. For Butler, it's simple: we're not satisfied. We've got one more to go.